हेलो माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स एंड फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल किड्स लर्निंग क्लासरूम स्टाइल में शिखा। और आप सबको मेरा जय श्री श्याम। आशा करती हूँ आप सब बहुत अच्छे होंगे और मेरे साथ साथ अपने साइंस सीखने की जर्नी को बहुत एंजॉय कर रहे होंगे। आई ट्राई टू पुट एज मच डिटेल एज पॉसिबल व्हेन आई एक्सप्लेन एनी टॉपिक इन एनी चैप्टर, एंड आई try to take time to explain things and not move very fast, so that the concepts are very clear to you and you are also able to take the notes with me when I am teaching. Yes, and need not to spend much time after the video is over, because the speed that I usually prefer is a slow to little medium speed. Yes, so yesterday what we had done, we had understood what is adaptation in behavior. So what does the animals develop special habits to survive in difficult environmental conditions. And there are three things that the animals do in their behavior, change in their behavior to survive in difficult environmental conditions, and they are hibernation, which is also called winter sleep, estivation, which is also called summer sleep, and migration means moving from one particular region to another. So hibernation, what is hibernation? Hibernation is a period wherein the animals staying in extreme cold regions reduce their activity, reduce their metabolism, and go for long sleep to avoid that extreme weather conditions. Similarly, in estivation, the animals, since the climatic conditions is too hot for them to survive or too hot for them to carry on their day-to-day activity, they take long rest or sleep for a little longer period, for ranging from few weeks to months during that particular climate conditions to survive. And migration, as I told, that birds or animals, they travel from one place to another for suitable weather conditions, for food requirements, for their breeding requirements. Today we will take a note and see the example of these animals. So what is hibernation? Is a state of dormancy, means inactivity, wherein the animals don't do any activity, that certain animals enter to survive periods of unfavorable weather conditions, primarily cold temperature. When, my dear students, when we also have this winter season and it's extreme freezing cold in the north, or the regions which are like Srinagar, Jammu Kashmir, or even Delhi, and these Haryana, Chandigarh and all, so we generally don't step out of our houses. We prefer to be in the house, so that we can avoid the extreme cold temperatures outside. So the animals also, what they do, they do less activity during this period when it's extreme cold. It involves a significant slowing down metabolic process. So metabolic process is the day-to-day activity that they do. They go for hunting, to search for food and all. So during this period, they don't do all this activity, resulting in reduced body temperature. So when you will not do much of an activity, the body temperature, what will happen? It will reduce. Heart rate and breathing will also reduce, so the the body temperature remains stagnant, the heartbeat, the breathing, these all remain stagnant. So which are the animals who do this? So the animals like bear, frog, lizard sleep for several months to avoid winter season. They prepare. And how do they prepare for hibernation? They prepare for hibernation by building up fat reserves and finding suitable shelters, because these animals also need to find suitable shelters to take to sleep or to take rest for several months. They wake up from sleep after the winter season gets over. So once that extreme climatic condition is over, then is when these animals wake up. And what are the examples of the animals who go for hibernation? So here I have an example: woodchuck, ground squirrel, common pulwil, American bullfrog, bear, wood frog, marmot, salamander, bumblebee, groundhog. So these are, so here are the animal list of animals who go for hibernation when there is extreme cold weather in the regions where they live. Similarly, here if you will see, there are examples of animals who hibernate or who goes for aestivation during summer season. So they are lungfish, tortoise, snake, hedgehog, crocodile, frog, earthworm, and ladybug. Yes, so we'll take a note of this as well. So aestivation, it is a state of inactivity that some animals enter during hot, dry periods, primarily in desert and tropical regions, because the extreme hot conditions prevail mostly in either the places where it's where that's a desert area or a tropical regions. So what happens during this time? During summer, some animals like crocodile, lungfish rest for long hours in the cool. So what they do, they will take rest for long hours in a cool, shady place to protect themselves from very high temperature. And if you will notice, my dear student, these are all the things that we as humans also do. When it's extreme hot outside, we don't prefer to step out of the house. What we do instead, we stay in the house whether our body temperature is well maintained. We don't do much of activity at times. We just sit, relax when these weather conditions are not favorable outside. In the normal weather conditions, we go out, we play, but then during summers, what we wait for the sunset to happen, and in the late evening we generally go for a evening walk, or the kids go out to play. Similarly, in winter season, my dear students, the kids generally prefer to play in the little afternoon period, so the little late afternoon period. So before the sunset, they are back home. Why? Because after sunset, the weather outside becomes extreme cold. Yes, so we humans also prefer or adapt to various the different weather conditions our own way. So similarly, there are many animals who are unable to who are unable to bear the extreme weather conditions. What do they adapt to? They adapt for long hours of rest, or long sleep of several months. Yes, and we have already discussed the example of such animals. And these, my dear students, these examples, at least 4 to 5 example is what you need to know, because this may be very quick, very easy answer for you during exams, because in exams you may get questions like give example of 4 animals who hibernate or who do summer sleep. So these are very easy to score marks in your exams. Then migration. So what is migration? Some animals such as birds and fish finds to survive in the winter season. So there also, my dear students, these animals or birds, when do they migrate? They migrate when their breeding regions, means the place where they live permanently, the weather condition there get extremely cold. So what happens in cold seasons? The food, there is a food shortage. Why food shortage? Because when everybody will be inside their home, then how will they get food? They will not be able to catch their prey, or they will not be able to, because all the trees, everything will be full of snow. So there will be no fruits, no leaves for them to eat. So there is a shortage of food. Due to shortage of food and changing climate, so what they do, so they leave their homes and travel to warmer places where there is plenty of food. Because summer seasons, my dear students, these trees, the fruits, everything keeps growing. So these birds and animals who basically eat, who are herbivorous, who eats plants or trees or fruits, things like that. So they travel to those places where there they can find food for themselves. Yes, and once the winter season in their breeding region is over, then they travel back to their home. It's not that they don't move back to their places, they do go back to the places they originally belong to. The movement, and this movement of animal or birds from one region to another is called migration. And I also have examples of the birds or the animals who migrate. So here are they. So great flamingo. So if you would have seen, these flamingo birds are usually seen in Run of Kutch in Gujarat. Then black-headed gull, Siberian crane. Siberian crane are the species, the endangered species. Now we'll discuss about what are endangered and extinct species. And black-tailed godwit. We'll quickly take a notes. Animal migration is a seasonal movement of animals from one. So we'll write here animals and birds from one region to another, often in search of food, better breeding conditions, or to escape harsh weather. To breeding is basically the survival condition where they're able to survive. Then some animals like birds and fish find it difficult to survive winter seasons. They leave their homes and travel to warmer places where there's plenty of food. Once the winter season ends, they travel back to their homes. And the examples as I shown, let's quickly check where do these animals from, where do these birds or animals come, and to which places they can be seen. So Siberian crane, as I told, is our endangered birds, migrate from Siberia to India. So from where do they come? They come from, and how do they look like? So these are the Siberian cranes. They come from Siberia to India, specifically to Keoladio National Park in Rajasthan. So they come from Siberia to India, and where they prefer to stay in India is the Keoladio National Park in Rajasthan. Then bar-headed goose. These species breed in Central Asia and migrates to North India. So they come from Central Asia, and where they go to Northern India like Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Assam. Then black-tailed godwit. So this is a black-tailed godwit. So where do these animals? So these animals migrate from Western Europe and Central Asia, and to which places they go? To places like Orissa, Andhra and Kerala. Then greater flamingo. These large pink birds travel from Iran, Pakistan and Central Asia to the Run of Kutch in Gujarat. And then blue throat. They migrate from Europe and Asia to India. And which part of India, my dear students? They are often seen in the Himalayan foothills. So where they are seen in the Himalayan foothills. And from all the places from where they migrate, my dear students, are the regions where it's extreme cold, where the weather conditions are extremely cold. And these birds and animals, what do they basically face? They face their food scarcity. The breeding condition means the survival condition for them is not there, and that's where they migrate from their home place to another place. And when that particular season is over, they travel back to their home. And here, my dear students, we have completed the 4 categories of adaptation in animals: adaptation to habitat, adaptation for food, adaptation for protection, and adaptation in behavior. So adaptation to habitat, we had covered terrestrial animals, aquatic animals, amphibian animals, aerial animals and arboreal animals. Adaptation for food were herbivorous animals, carnivorous, omnivorous, parasites and scavengers. And adaptations for protection was strong leg, big size animals. Then we have to mimic the animals who can mimic and camouflage. And adaptations in behavior are hibernation, estivation, and migration. And now we'll, dear students, study something very important about animals in danger. So my dear students, as we would have heard that many animals who used to stay millions of years ago, now they don't exist in the world, exist on earth basically. So why is that, and why are some animals on the verge of extinction? What has made it to happen? Because earth is a place for all. Yes, earth is a place for all. Earth is place for human beings, animals, birds. So what happens, what changes happens that these animals are on the verge of extinction? Being extinct means their existence is about to they are very few in numbers basically, or the animals who no longer stay on earth. So the one reason that generally is been talked about is the climatic conditions. Now the climatic conditions are changing every single day. Previously it was not so hot. Even if as human beings, if we see now, the temperature in few northern regions go up to 48, 49, which is not that suitable. We humans can be inside our home and there are so many facilities that we can avail, but then these animals don't have those facilities. When there is extreme hot, they are still in the open areas in the forest. And now also, my dear students, we have been cutting the trees, so all these forest areas and everything are now becoming what? So these are all being urbanized. So then these animals don't find proper shelter to hide themselves when the weather conditions are not favorable. And also, my dear students, since these animals they adapt to various changes, but then this adaptation process is not so quick that today something is changing and tomorrow they are able to adapt to it. No, it takes time for them. So despite of lot of adaptation, there are several animals whose lives are in danger. They are close to disappearing from the earth, and these animals are called endangered animals. And also, my dear students, there is also, we humans are also responsible directly or indirectly for animals becoming extinct. Why? Because we are cutting down forest in search of places to live, to fulfill our needs. In this way, we are destroying homes and sources of food for animals, and we'll discuss the same thing in our topic today. So endangered animals are species at high risk of extinction in the near future. This means there are very few individuals left in the wild and their populations are rapidly declining. So these animals, since animals can reproduce, my dear students, so they reproduce means they have their young ones, but when the weather conditions are not favorable, it becomes difficult for them to even reproduce. So when they will not grow their families, then how their number will increase? It will not increase, rather it will decrease. Several factors can lead to species becoming endangered, including habitat loss, so destruction or fragmentation of their natural habitat due to deforestation, urbanization, and agriculture. So what we are doing, their habitat is the forest, the nature basically. So what we are doing, we are cutting down the trees, we are we are just building more and more new buildings for our home, for our living purpose, for our factory purpose. So we are just cutting down all those forests that we used to have, the greenery that we used to have just for our own needs. So basically, so therefore indirectly what we are doing, we are destroying the place, the natural habitat of animals. Poaching. So what is poaching? Poaching is basically hunting or killing the animals. So why we are doing this? So illegal hunting and trade of endangered animals for their parts like ivories, fur, or medicine. So there are many animals, my dear students, whom people hunt. The hunters hunt. And why do they hunt? Because of, for their skin, like crocodile and tigers, they are being hunted for their skin. So the elephants, they are hunted for their horns, their trunk, because these are all the things that people can make money out of it. Then climate change. Shifts in weather patterns, rising sea levels, and extreme weather events can disrupt ecosystem and impact endangered species. So the weather patterns are shifting very rapidly. Yes, the sea levels are rising, so the animals whose habitat is sea, they also find difficult to survive. The weather conditions, it's not only rapidly changing, it's also becoming extreme weather conditions, which makes them difficult to survive. And then invasive species. So what does this invasive species mean? So in this stage of migration, when the animals travel from one region to another, it at times happens that the animals who have migrated, they prefer to stay in the place where they have come. Why? Because they find the weather conditions good, they are able to find food and prey. So introduction to non-native species can outcompete or prey on endangered animals. So when people come, when these birds and animals, they start coming to different places and they start living there, for their survival. So the food and all is, everything is very limited, the place is also limited. So these animals then start being killed by the other animals for their food, and gradually this process gets disrupted. What are the examples? So this Javan rhinos, Amur leopard, Sunda island tiger, mountain gorillas, black rhinos, African forest elephants, etc. are various lists of animals who are on the verge of extinctions in near future. So here are the pictures. So this Amur leopard, black rhino, Javan rhino. See, these are various animals. This Sumatran elephant, Sunda tiger. So these are the list of animals who are on the verge of being extinct, and the reason is what I have explained. And therefore, my dear students, we should always be cautious about when we are cutting down the trees. What are the adverse effects? So any action that we do may have an adverse effect, maybe not on us but on the animals and birds. We'll just have a discussion about it on a next session, when we will study about the animals who are extinct, and then we will take the questions for this chapter which I have not covered. And the reason was only because since this chapter was a continuation is what we are studying, so in between if I would put a break on it, then that entire flows goes off. Yes, so do like my video, share with your friends and families. We'll soon connect with you all. तब तक के लिए आप सबको मेरा जय श्री श्याम.